Hello, this is Andrew Dykeman-Daams, and today I'll be presenting my lesson plan. I like to call it an exploration of meter and the oddities it holds. This is for 8th grade, and the subject of the class will be usually a general music class, advanced music, if anything. And hopefully, I could present this to a band class or something like that, where they're looking at repertoire that starts delving into these kind of odd meters. And I think it would be very useful for them, and that's when I started looking into 6/8 and 7/4 and 5/4. It was about 7th grade, 8th grade, so I think it'd be useful for them. The standards I've chosen all have to do with mainly finding out rhythmic and melodic patterns in a variety of meters. The first one, of course, says read, write, perform, and compose in 6/8. The second one, the latter half, is what we're looking at read, write, and perform rhythmic and melodic patterns in a variety of meters. And the last one, follow and respond to the cues of a conductor, I like a lot because it more so resembles the visible aspect that I'll be having to introducing these new meters. Um, the evaluation for this, I like to think of my lessons as having a follow through lesson kind of thing. And so the evaluation would be a second day lesson where they bring in a song after having learned all of this, and it will be in 6/8 or 5/4 or 7/4. They're going to find it on their own, and they're going to find a rhythm in that and present it and be like, this is what I hear, this is the rhythm that I hear. And it doesn't have to be anything too amazing, it doesn't have to be anything that's too stressful. I want them to just have fun looking for something and bringing it in and showing it off. I think that'd be neat. Objectives of this are rather simple, going back to it. I want them to just recognize, understand, and read these meters. Of course, there's also, how is it conducted and how are they able to recognize them on the staff or with their ears. But they all kind of flow together really well, just recognizing 6/8, 5/4, and 7/4. So going into my procedure, it's rather simple with starting in Quaver. Quaver has a bit on 6/8 because 6/8 is really where it starts getting introduced more in 8th grade from Quaver's perspective. They don't have too much on 5 or 7/4, so I had to use other resources for that. But I made do with a little bit of something I have in Quaver and some other resources I found. So with Quaver, starting in 6/8, they have a nice little musical example. It goes over, you can kind of hear how the beat is stressed. The accents are marked over how it makes sense pretty much. And they also have some example rhythms that we can go over. We can clap through. I can conduct, whatnot. And this is a slide that I can use to kind of transpose to the other meters as well. 6/8 meter means there are beats in each measure, and an eighth note equals one beat. Same thing can apply for 5/4. 5/4 meter means there are 5 beats in each measure, and a quarter note equals one beat. And the same can be said for 7/4. This is something I just kind of included as I wanted there to be something that was kind of interactive, showing off some different rhythms, which is done later on with both 5/4 and 7/4. I made sure that I can do something in those without this, of course. But this is a little groove thing. You can kind of just mess around with different things to play, different tracks, and kind of mess around with the rhythms, is all it really is. This goes more into the real life aspect that I want them to kind of gain from all these rhythmic and meter things. This is a classical 6/8. 6/8, of course, has a lot more of a presence in classical music than probably 7 or 5/4. But I wanted to include this because there's a nice little musical example. You can hear the 6/8ness of it. And it includes a nice little first time and second time, kind of talking about how it's stressed each time. And going through the whole musical example would be something I would likely do. And the last slide for 6/8, I made sure to include more of this on my own and also for the other meters. But it has pop songs in 6/8. I only really know one of them. But Lights by Journey, We Are the Champions by Queen, and How Can You Mend a Broken Heart by the Bee Gees. But I actually really enjoy, as much as these are probably older songs, I like the second slide more, children's songs in 6/8. These are all songs that I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have heard before in our lives. And I'm sure any 8th grader would be able to hear these and be like, oh, that's in 6/8. I didn't know that. Pop Goes the Weasel, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. They're all really good tunes, and I think they're helpful for them to kind of click like, oh, this is 6/8. So Moving on from 6/8, this is where it kind of ends for Quaver for now. But I had to move on from 6/8, and as I talked about, we'd be clapping or I'd be conducting through some of these, and the same thing would apply to 5/4. But I had to have something else to kind of bounce off of as a kind of base. So I found a nice video by a YouTube channel called the Mangold Project, very small, but he kind of goes over and plays piano to a bit of 5/4 and 7/4 in different parts of the video. If I'll skip ahead a little bit, this is something I could honestly say that Quaver did the same thing of, and I think it's a nice base. He kind of explains it a bit more, and we can listen to the whole thing the whole way through, but I don't think it's necessary for now. But he does this for both of them. He talks about different rhythms, and I could go into how is 3+2 versus 2+3 different stress wise or rhythmic wise. I really want to emphasize that. I included it in my procedure right here, emphasizing the difference between 3+2 and 2+3. I think that's super important for something like 5/4 because they are different in that regard. Making sure these are also conducted and clapped, of course. I didn't include this until now, but I have a rhythmic sheet I included. I just wrote up some rhythms for 6/8, 5/4, 7/8. I possibly could do the same for 7/4. 7/8 translates to that, but it'd probably be easier and less confusion for there to also be a 7/4 bar. But these are just some example rhythms that I included, and this would be used. Maybe they can use this for their evaluation. They find a song and they listen for some of these rhythms, and we can, of course, clap through these as the class goes on. I only include this now because of this procedure point right here. Give example rhythms, which are found on the attached sheet, which I forgot to address in the 6/8 section at some point. But I also included some more example songs. Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, another jazz piece, and Mission Impossible theme is something I remember hearing about being in 5/4 when I was in high school or something. And these are songs like the Mission Impossible theme, maybe something they've heard. I don't know if any kid nowadays would know what it is, but it's something that made me click like, oh, this is 5/4. That's cool. So it's rather simple. Two nice tunes that maybe can help that click better. Very 5/4, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Moving on to the 7/4, 7/8 section, same Mangold Project video happens, going until another 3 minutes afterwards. He talks about more example rhythms, 4+3, 3+4, 3+3+1, which is a rather odd one, but it works, I guess. And again, I would make sure to talk with them. How are the strong beats addressed? How are the weak beats addressed? And I would make sure to give these example rhythms again, clapping them. Maybe I conduct and show them the pattern for 7, just as I did for 5/4. And make sure the example sheet I give is thoroughly looked through. And then the example songs I included for this, Money by Pink Floyd, I don't know too well, but I know of it. And Outer Urge by Moonhooch is a very fast 7/8 song, but it's 7/8. It's the best I could find, really. 7 has a lot of hard-to-find examples that aren't just little points in music or little pieces of a song. So these are songs that are primarily in 7, which I liked. Going back to Quaver, they have a nice section. We would skip past the basic part of this, but they have a meter matching. The meter matching has examples like this track 6. We would go through all these, and maybe with track 6, they can listen and be like, that's in 5. And that's simple to hear. And we go through these, we check them all out. I think this one's in 7. Or this one's the one in 5. My bad. The track 6 is in 7. But we listen through these, we check them all out, and that's kind of like the introduction into those harder meter beats and whatnot. I like it. I was surprised Quaver had this, considering they don't have sections in 5 or 7. But it's a nice little tool. I think that gets some help orally. As well as the which meter I included at the end. Since 6/8 was at the beginning, this would be at the end. You play through all these. And they can kind of like, oh, this one's in 3/4. We reveal it after each time, and there's a 6/8 in there. Wow. And how, that goes back to how is it different from 3/4? How is it different from 2 per se? This one's just another 4/4. But overall, I think that explains it pretty well. I like this lesson a lot. I hope you did too. And I think kids would be enthusiastic about learning something interesting. I don't know, about real world music, I guess you could say. It's nice to kind of find out what there is around you and what opportunities and what meters there are in music for you to experiment with. And I think the earlier they're introduced, the cooler they are. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my lesson.